And now the coalition of Northern Group has expressed concerns about alleged plans by outgoing government officials to flee the country before the takeover. They allege that despite alert issued by the Directorate of State Services, the military and the Nigerian police force, proactive measures to address these concerns are yet to be seen. Addressing newsmen in Abuja, the spokesperson of the group, Abdulaziz Sulaiman, demanded that all key officials in the outgoing administration clear themselves of pending corruption and other allegations.
We observed that much earlier, the Department of State Services (DSS) had confirmed a clandestine plot by some politicians to derail the handover and install an interim government in Nigeria. The CNG has observed also that allegations are growing strong of Emefele's planned study leave abroad, presumably to escape Nigeria before the inauguration and avoid questions around alleged terrorism financing, other economic and financial misdemeanors, and the introduction of the currency redesign policy in a bid to create obstacles for Tinubu during the presidential campaign, which ended up in mass national suffering. And CNG is also worried about reports that some top officials of the outgoing administration are planning to leave the country ahead of the handover, obviously in a bid to cover up their serial misconduct in office and to avoid being called to account. We are especially worried by reports that Godwin Emefele, who has held one of the most important offices in the country as governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria throughout all the years of Nigeria's economic and financial turmoil, is among those planning to flee abroad.
And in response to potential threat and impediments to the smooth transition, the Northern Group also demanded urgent proactive action from the DSS to expose and apprehend the perpetrators.
Any situation that could lead to scuttling or in any way postponing the scheduled handover of leadership to the new duly elected federal administration of Bola Tinubu and state governors on May 29. Demand from the DSS urgent proactive action to checkmate the maneuvers of the perpetrators of the evil scheme, and most importantly, to trace and expose the extent of the plot, arrest and prosecute not only the executors of the plot, but its sponsors and all individuals or groups in any way linked to it. To invite the DSS to note that Nigerians would not be disposed to accepting situations deliberately caused by vested personal interests under whatever guise that potentially threaten destruction and collective mayhem or bring about greater conflicts that could lead to mass killings and suffering of innocent people. To demand that anybody or group found remotely involved with the financing, direct execution, or concealing information on this sinister and diabolic scheme be treated appropriately as a treasonable felon and enemy of the state and fellow citizens.
And the Defense Headquarters and the Department of State Services had previously raised alarms about plot to disrupt the handover and install an interim government.